Hey everybody, today on the Rob Russo College Football Show, we're going to be talking about the upcoming playoff games, more specifically between Texas, Ohio State, and then Notre Dame, Penn State. So let's get into it. I'm super excited. The first one we'll be talking about is the Cotton Bowl between Texas and Ohio State on January 10th. It's in Dallas, Texas, which is a pretty big deal considering Texas, obviously, and Dallas pretty close. I mean, they're the same state, so it's going to be pretty much a home field game for Texas. And I think the most interesting thing is that the point spread right now is Ohio State minus 6.5, even though they're pretty much going to be playing in a road game, which shows you how much Vegas likes Ohio State. And honestly, I could see why. Let's start off with the major keys of the game for Ohio State. Ohio State, they don't have many injuries right now, so that's pretty big for them. They've been pretty healthy ever since the Seth McLaughlin injury back in November against Indiana, and they're starting to really come into their own. They played Tennessee, killed them 42-17, and then played Oregon, obviously, just last week, and they killed them 42-21 in a game that wasn't even that close. So this team is definitely the most hottest in college football right now, ever since that loss to Michigan. That was feels like a long time ago, in all honesty. They've been on fire. They've been playing the way they want to play, and they've been winning, which is the most important thing. But let's get to the major keys. The first major key for Ohio State is to start fast and make this into more of a shootout, because that's the way they want to play, all right? Because Ohio State, they got Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka on the outside. They want to throw that ball. They want to get a lot of points on that board. I mean, Texas's defense has not played an offense like Ohio State's yet. And so I think it would really benefit them, don't get into a slugfest with Texas, because that's a game they could win. But if they get a quick 14-0 on the board, I mean, I don't think Texas has the firepower to really keep up with them in a shootout. So if I'm Ohio State and Ryan Day, I'm thinking let's repeat the scripts from the Oregon game. Let's get a bunch of points on that board and just dominate. I think the second key of the game is to force Quinn Ewers into turnovers. Fun fact, Quinn Ewers has thrown an interception, at least one, in the last 4 games. So you can definitely get turnovers on this Texas team. Obviously, Ohio State's secondary is pretty solid, really good, my bad. Caleb Downs, Lathan Ransom, Denzel Burke, just to name a few of the guys on their secondary. I mean, they're definitely gonna be hungry in this game, so I would definitely watch out for that. They're always looking to get turnovers, and Quinn Ewers has proven that this season, at least this season, he's been throwing a lot of interceptions. So if I'm Ohio State's secondary, I think that's one of the many ways that you can turn the tides of this game and turn it into more of a blowout by getting your offense more and more opportunities to score the ball. The third key I have to the game, and the final one for Ohio State, is get Jeremiah Smith the ball. I mean, I think it's pretty clear, it's pretty obvious that Jeremiah Smith is the best receiver in college football, as we saw in the Oregon game where he absolutely torched them. First touchdown. I mean, the guy's a beast. I mean, I know he had high expectations coming in as a freshman, but I don't think anybody expected this out of him. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. He's literally just 18 or 19 years old. Sorry, I don't know the exact number, and he's absolutely dominating every team he's come up against. It's crazy, but that's a strategy, because if you get Jeremiah Smith the ball, he can make some stuff happen himself, but then he also opens up the running game. He opens up Egbuka. And at that point, if you get him the ball and it's effective, your offense is going to be, Texas is going to have a lot on their hands. That's all I'm saying. So let's look at how does this upset happen. For Texas, I think the first key is the front four has to dominate. The last time Ohio State lost was obviously to Michigan, as I've said earlier, and the clear thing that happened was Michigan's front four dominated Ohio State's offensive line. My bad. Their banged up offensive line. I mean, it's pretty clear and obvious that the weakest part of this Ohio State football team is their offensive line. So Texas's front four, who has been really good throughout the season, run stuffing, pass rushing. Colin Simmons, shout out. I mean, they're gonna have to play the best game of their career. Honestly, all of them. They're gonna have a hell of a game in order to keep up with this Ohio State offense and pretty much neutralize them. And if they could if their four-man rush can get to the quarterback, I mean, that helps secondary, that helps the defense, that helps out the team. That's one of the main things that has to happen in order for Texas to get this upset is that front four has to dominate. If they don't, I don't see a world where Texas pulls this one out. The second key to the game is that Texas's offensive line cannot get bullied again. Against Arizona State, I was watching it. It was bad. Arizona State, who has a very, very small and not pretty average defensive line, and that's being generous in all honesty, they beat up Texas' offensive line pretty good. I think they got 3 sacks on Quinn Ewers. Shamari Simmons had that insane safety where he just pretty much went right through the line and got a big hit, which caused a safety. They can't get bullied like that again. I mean, Ohio State's D-line's legit. Their entire team is legit. You can't let Ohio State's D-line dominate because you know what's going to happen if they dominate? Quinn Ewers is going to throw interceptions, and then Ohio State's going to get a big lead, and then you're going to have to try and claw your way back, which is just something that I don't see happening. Like, if you give Ohio State a 14-point lead, I think the game's over. So their O-line really can't get beat as bad as they did. The good news is, though, I'm pretty sure Texas' starting right tackle is going to be back this game. So it looks like their entire line's healthy, which could definitely help them with run blocking, pass blocking, everything. So that's big for them. The third key is Quinn Ewers needs to be great. Let's just take let's go back in time to last year in Tuscaloosa, where Quinn Ewers absolutely torched Alabama secondary. We haven't seen that so far this season. It's been more so like controlling the game manager type, hand the ball off, and then hit throws when you need to. However, we did see some of that old Quinn Ewers in the overtime against Arizona State, where he was really dicing them up, which is really great news if you're Texas, because that is what you need in order to really have a shot at beating Ohio State. So, will we get that version? Will we not? I mean, who knows? Who knows? That's why I'm really excited about this one. How is Texas going to play? Is the good Texas going to show up, or is the one that we saw against Georgia going to show up? Who knows? My prediction is I think it's going to be a close game. I think that this Texas team is going to have a lot to prove. I think Sark's going to unveil the bag onto Ohio State, and I have them covering the 6.5-point spread, but this Ohio State team is hot, and I think they're going to win the game. But we'll see. I mean, I think this Texas team is good enough to beat anyone in the country. I wouldn't be shocked if they won, but they have to prove it. They have to prove it. They haven't beaten a great team yet, which is it's a concern. But I do think they cover. I got Ohio State winning. Yeah. Let's go to the next game, the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida on January 9th between Penn State and Notre Dame. So Notre Dame right now has a spread of -1.5, which means they're slight favorites, but it's not. It's pretty much a toss-em game. So let's start with the keys for Notre Dame being the favorite. The first one is, can their D-line stop Penn State's running attack? I mean, first two games, first one against Indiana in the playoffs, they allowed 63 run yards, and the second one against Georgia, they allowed 62. However, their D-line depth is really thin, especially after the loss of Riley Mills. Although they did really well against Georgia and Penn State, Penn State's running attack is just much better than Georgia's. So I think that's something to really keep an eye on. And if I'm Penn State, I'm looking to run the ball on them because of how thin their D-line is, and try and bust a few. But I think this is a really, really important part of the game, and I honestly think it could decide everything. If Notre Dame can stop Penn State's running game, I think Notre Dame has a very, very good shot at winning. If Penn State can run on Notre Dame, I don't think Notre Dame wins this game. So it's definitely something to watch, and we will see on if Penn State can run the ball on Notre Dame's thin defensive line. The second key is, can Notre Dame stop Tyler Warren? I think that Notre Dame has the pieces to stop Tyler Warren. They have Xavier Watts at safety, Adon Schuler as well. Great safety pairing. They have really good linebackers. However, it's Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren is that guy. He is the one guy on Penn State, that on offense at least, that can just really take over a game by himself, as we saw against USC. I mean, it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle, and I'm really interested to see on how or if Notre Dame can stop him. So, I mean, defensive coordinator Al Golden on Notre Dame really knows his stuff, though. So, we'll definitely see. I'm interested to see this matchup. And the third key point is, can Notre Dame break off a few big runs? In every game in Notre Dame this season, the theme has been they've been able to bust a few runs for at least like 20, 30 yards. Like their explosive play, unlike most teams, isn't passing it. Their explosive plays are the runs to Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. This Penn State D-line, however, is definitely the best that Notre Dame has seen so far this year. So it should be interesting to see on if Notre Dame can get some push and potentially bust a few runs. Because if they do, that could really help their offense get going, because it'll just make it so Penn State has the crowd line of scrimmage more, and Notre Dame, which will allow Notre Dame to hopefully be able to pass it. I mean, we'll see. So, for Penn State, the keys to the game, just like to bring up first is that Abdul Carter, pretty questionable. We won't know if he's playing or not till probably a few days before the game. If Abdul Carter's out, then that's a huge blow to Penn State. And, I mean, we'll see. But if he's there, then that's obviously great for them, and it'll definitely help them. You definitely want Abdul Carter to be there if you're a Penn State fan. However, the first key to the game is, don't become one-dimensional. In the first two playoff games for Notre Dame, they have forced their opponent to be one-dimensional. They've made it so you have to only pass on them. And for Penn State, you don't want to get into those 3rd and 8 situations. You don't want to get into those 3rd and longs, because obviously you have Tyler Warren, but like, who else do you have? Do you really have that much confidence in your receivers to beat the one-on-one coverage and these exotic blitzes on 3rd and long? I don't know. I don't think that's a situation you want to be in if you're Penn State. Be able to establish the run, and then you can see if you could take some shots and really open up the offense like you did against Oregon. And the second key to this game is, can they stop Riley Leonard on the ground? As we all saw on, I think it was Thursday, Georgia really struggled against the quarterback run and then the quarterback scramble and all that. It's going to be very important for Penn State to stop him. I don't know how you're going to do it, in all honesty. Maybe he has Tony Rojas as a quarterback spy. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's going to be very important, because Riley Leonard is a big part of Notre Dame's offense, obviously, and his legs are definitely his best attributes. So if you're Penn State, that's got to be something you got to stop if you want to have a shot at winning this game. The third key is winning the turnover battle. Notre Dame has not lost the game this season when they have won the turnover battle, or the turnover battle is even. So if you're Penn State, you can't let them win it, because if you give this Notre Dame offense short fields, you don't want to give them short fields and easy scores, because obviously the offense isn't as good as most teams who made the college football playoff. So giving them short field is a recipe for disaster. And if you're Penn State, just maybe try and get a few turnovers on Notre Dame's offense. I mean, Riley Leonard isn't the greatest passer, and we'll see if their secondary can capitalize on it. As for my prediction, Abdul Carter, he's going to play a big part in it, because we don't know if he's playing or not. If Abdul Carter's not playing, I got Notre Dame in a blowout. If he is, it should be more interesting. But I have Notre Dame winning and covering, because it's 1.5 point spread. So we'll definitely see. But if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.